is Aiden Kiva. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I want to just really briefly talk about tonic herbs in this video because I think that there's a bit of a misunderstanding about tonic herbs that has become quite prevalent in our culture. Kind of modern Western culture doesn't, for the most part, have intact herbal traditions. There are certainly some, but they are folk traditions and they're not widely known. And because of this, when many of us engage with herbal medicine without any training or context or lineage, we don't really understand the complexity of it and the principles that are necessary to grasp in order to treat ourselves correctly. And these days you can buy all sorts of herbs at health food stores or Whole Foods has got tons of herbal supplements and different formulas. And you can buy pretty much anything online, of course. And a lot of people I see are actually misdiagnosing themselves. They're misunderstanding what's going on in their system, and they are overusing tonic herbs. So tonic herbs in Chinese medicine refers to herbs that nourish the body, that give the body more energy. And there are different types of tonics. There are tonics that nourish qi, that nourish yin, that nourish blood, that nourish yang. Most of the really popular herbs I see out there are qi tonics, though some of them are yang tonics as well. Yin and blood tonics are less popular right now. And this includes these qi and yang tonics often are called adaptogens. That word has become very, very popular, adaptogen, and really what adaptogen means is helping the body to adapt to stress, which itself is an interesting concept because from a Chinese medicine perspective, adapting is essential. That is an essential principle for how we practice. In fact, really at the deepest level, all illness is understood to be a lack of ability of our body and our mind to adapt to the changes of our lives. And yet the way that adaptogens are being used and talked about is lacking in integrity, I think, in some ways, because often they're being used just to adapt to the stress of our life, just to kind of get us through, to push on through, because they are qi tonics. They do give us more energy. But what that means is that we're not actually necessarily stopping and saying, hey, wait a minute, maybe something actually has to change in my life. Maybe I have to change my life so that I'm not in a constant state of stress all the time. Instead of just, giving myself more qi in order to push on through something that would be exhausting or draining or make me feel weird and off and not right, maybe I actually need to make a change. And so that's sort of the underlying sort of philosophical overtone of adaptogenic herbs, at least the way that they're talked about. They're used kind of like stimulants. They're not all stimulants at all, but they're sort of used in that sort of way in our culture, and not everyone needs them. In fact, for some people, they can be really detrimental to health. In Chinese medicine, we understand that some people, the root cause of their challenges and their illness is just a lack of qi. It is weakness. It is debility. But for a lot of people, especially people in our culture, because in our culture, we have enough food to eat. Many of us have, basic necessities taken care of. A lot of us don't actually, the fundamental issue for us isn't that we lack energy, it's that we have too much. It's that we have what's called heat and maybe stagnation. We're kind of stuck, we're overfilled with energy, and when we take these tonic herbs, it will actually just fuel the fire. So they can actually lead to more stress, even though they're called adaptogens. And so people assume, oh, I take it, it helps me adapt, it makes me de-stress. Yes, they can do that if someone is deficient in some way. But if someone has an excess, they can worsen the excess, making someone much more anxious, much more stressed, and much less grounded. So they're really not right for everyone. A lot of people need things cleared out of their system. They don't need more to be added in, they need to be cleared out. So that's why in Chinese medicine we give a lot of herbs for clearing heat, for clearing stagnation, for clearing what's called dampness, which is you could think of as a type of fluid accumulation, which is caused by a lack of the body's ability to metabolize fluids properly. Clearing things out is really essential for health, but unfortunately the herbs that are really in vogue right now in the wider culture are just tonic herbs. And this is for the most part. There are a few that do other things, but for the most part it's tonic herbs that people are going out and buying or buying online. And there are huge limitations to this, and from my perspective it's not even really so responsible for these things to be they're being handed out all the time, kind of like candy, and even by healthcare professionals sometimes who lack training in a complete herbal system. And so it's not as though they have any ill intent. Healthcare providers, by and large, are good people who are trying to help, but there is often a lack of understanding of this principle, and because of that, people are just being given tonics all the time, and this is not necessarily helpful. So if you are engaging with herbal medicine, I would really encourage you to do some research, look up what these herbs do from a Chinese medicine perspective. The thing you should understand about that, if you do it, is that Chinese medicine doesn't classify substances in the way that modern biomedicine does. And so the way we classify substances is less about the symptoms that they treat and more about the underlying dynamic that they create in the body, which then can affect various different symptoms. So it's not as though, it's not so easy, unfortunately, for those who aren't trained in Chinese medicine to be able to discern these things all the time, which is a reason that if you really feel like herbal medicine is important for you, and it is very important for many people, and I certainly don't mean to suggest that people shouldn't be experimenting with herbs and trying them out. It's a wonderful thing to do, and a certain level of experimentation is just part of the healing process sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is important to be educated and know that these are strong medicines, and they can have profound impact on the body. And to be discerning with what you hear about herbal medicine, specifically with regards to what in Chinese medicine we would classify as tonic herbs, because they are not good for everyone. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.